Right, shalom, shalom. Yasha Allah. It's your brother Amath. I acquire first name. IQ is all the same. You asked for it. I'm here to deliver. Some of y'all asked about Scientology, or I made mention about me doing a lesson about it, give or take, maybe 8 years ago or something like that. And I asked during one of my DSTM episodes, if anybody was interested in me revisiting that topic. A few of y'all was like, "Yeah, you want to know it more about it." So here I am. Here we are, and we're gonna go ahead and start exposing these demons for what they are, man, and these devils coming up with these um, uh, false prophet, false ideologies, false religious texts coming from the so-called white man. Um, a lot of our people are dabbling into this particular philosophy of thought, whether they proclaim themselves as being Scientologists or not. The ideology of the subset of Scientology, or the beginnings of its doctrines, which is Dianetics, leads everybody into the actual practicing of Scientology and becoming part of the church. All right. So without further ado, man, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shai. We're going to get right into it. Let me go ahead on and share a few things with you. You're going to be, some of you may be a little shocked about some of the information we're going to cover this evening. And if not, you know, you're definitely going to have some more ammo to put in your clip to shoot down these Scientologists and the people that, proclaim themselves to be followers of their white zaddy, L. Ron Hubbard. All right. Um, so let's get to it, man. Let me go ahead and share with my folks. Hopefully everybody's doing well, man. And you've wiped your feet when you came on in here. All right. Do your brother that solid. Wipe your feet. Make sure that you hit the like button, and we can go from there. All right. So here we have it, man. The cult of Scientology. The cult of Scientology. All right. First of all, let's open up in the book of Colossians. You know what? I'm gonna have to share my screen in a different fashion so I can get the scriptures up as well. Let me switch up. Let me switch up. Shalaki, I'm trying to find my scriptures here. Let's start off here first. All right. Let's do it that way. All right. So, first of all, we're going to start off in Colossians, the second chapter. Always a good place to start when it comes down to these particular philosophies of men, okay, which Scientology is based after. A white man named L. Ron Hubbard, a former science fiction writer, something straight out of Star Trek, you know what I'm saying, created this doctrine that now is followed by millions and has become a $1 billion religious organization. All right. Well, maybe not billions, but clearly in the hundreds of millions. They profited off of the ignorance of people. All right. Colossians 2:8 says, "Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach Yahweh Shai," meaning Christ. Okay. So Paul forewarned us that there were going to be men that's out there with powerful philosophies, powerful doctrines, backed by worthless lies, vain deceits that were created after tradition of men, that was going to draw some people away. These are all things based after the rudiments of the world, worldly ideologies, worldly desires, worldly thought processes of how we're supposed to examine ourselves and how we're supposed to exercise, our personal demons, how we address our histories and our personal histories within ourselves. These are the things that the Book of Dianetics tries to, uh, teach people. It's basically dealing with a doctrine known as humanism. An individual being responsible for his own salvation, being responsible for his own self healing. You deal with a lot of those things, even when you're dealing with the terms of mental health and going to psychologists and psychiatrists and sitting down with a mental health professional, wanting to talk out your problems or want to talk to somebody so that you can kind of work out your daddy issues or work out your childhood issues or whatever the case may be, right? Dianetics tries to teach you how to do it yourself and raise you up to a higher spiritual level. Okay. This is what we're talking about. So these are the things that we've been forewarned about. All right. Let me get another one in Jeremiah. Jeremiah 17. And we get this from the beginning, man. Jeremiah 17, verse 5. Thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, whose heart departeth from Yahweh. So clearly, we already know that the Book of Dianetics, the Church of Scientology, and its founding father, L. Ron Hubbard, has nothing to do with the Most High, has nothing to do with following after the Holy Bible, has nothing to do with true spirituality, okay? Because his heart has been departed from the Lord. His heart departed from the Lord way back when Esau had the opportunity to have the birthright, and he turned it down. Turned it down for a pot of red pottage. You understand what I'm saying? Job, the 20th chapter, tells us that he says, who's the Most High that I should serve him? You know, so his heart has been departed from the Most High. He has no desire to serve the Lord. Let me get that in Job. It might be Job 21, but let me make sure. Let me see here. Let's see. Yeah, Job 21. All right, let's read 13 down. Uh, Verse 13, it says, they spend their days in wealth and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore, they say unto the Most High, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. See, this is what L. Ron Hubbard did, and actually embraced his father, Satan, okay, which we'll get into as we go on, because his roots of understanding leads to the Church of Satan. His white zaddy is Anton LaVey. No, no, not Anton LaVey. Shlaki. Uh, 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 Oh man, the Edomite's name is escaping me. We're gonna get to him. It's in my PowerPoint. Don't worry about it. But he's got roots in dealing with the occult. All right, we'll get to that as we continue on. But verse 15. What is the Almighty that we should serve him, and what profit should we have if we pray unto him? See, the white man is only concerned with profit. What can he get out of the deal? How can he come up? How can he capitalize? If the Most High, worshiping and serving the Most High does not gain him anything, he's not going to serve him. What profit can I get if I serve him? If I serve your God, and what's he going to do for me? Like there's a fair exchange in that. That's where his thought processes come from. Okay. So let's get over here and we're going to get to the actual Church of Scientology, man. I want to delve into this and get a couple more precepts to show this. Hold on one second. Let me get this PowerPoint up. Uh, Slock it 1 second. All right. So as y'all can see here, we're gonna talk about the cult of Scientology. So but let's look at it, man. What is Scientology? It's developed by L. Ron Hubbard. Let me slow down. Let me slow down. I'm ready to chop his head off. Developed by L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology is a religion that offers a precise path leading to a complete and certain understanding of one's true spiritual nature and one's relationship to self, family, groups, mankind, all life forms, the material universe, the spiritual universe, and the supreme being. So here they are trying to talk about that once you become part of Scientology, you're going to get all aspects of spirituality. You understand how that goes all the way back to the beginning, going all the way back to the essences of Genesis, right? Because when you're looking at it from the lens of Genesis, you'll see why Satan came into play and played on Eve's pride, right? When the knowledge of understanding good and evil was brought to them in Genesis, the third chapter, that was her acknowledging that there were higher forms of knowledge that the Most High was keeping back from them. You understand? And Satan comes along and says, hey, I've got the knowledge. You said that the Most High told you that you're going to die if you eat this? No. He wouldn't kill you for this. You're going to be like a god once you get this. Let's go there. Genesis, the third chapter. And let me pull it up here. It's lucky that I got to keep going in and out this PowerPoint. It's just kind of how I got the setup going right now. But bear with me and we're going to get right through it. So look here. Genesis third chapter. Let's just start right here. Start at 1. It says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh thy power had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? So Satan obviously coming in, tempting Eve, said, did the Most High tell you can't eat of every tree in the garden? He said you can't partake in all of them? I mean, he limited you? What? Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. She said, no, we can eat of the trees of the fruit. Don't try to play us. But verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High have said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now, doesn't it sound familiar when we're talking about what the Church of Scientology brings to the table when they say that once you come into the knowledge of understanding the true all aspects and forms of Scientology, that you're going to know all aspects of the spirit. You're going to know about mankind, all life forms, family, your relationship to yourself, your true spiritual nature. You're going to know about the universe. You're going to know about your relationship with the supreme being. See, this is why Scientology is dangerous, is because this is the essence of what you would consider a one world religion. When you're talking about like a doctrine of the beast, because Scientology will embrace all religions. They don't care if you're a Muslim, which we'll find out later, Christian, Catholic, Baptist, atheist, doesn't matter. What they sell themselves on is, oh, we know about the spirit. The spirit's not subject to race, your religion. We can pull out positives from all of your religions and you can use that to your advantage. Right? But eventually, said person that leaves or that comes from their particular church background, they're going to be persuaded and they're going to be told you have to leave off of your particular doctrine and your church and become full-fledged members of the Church of Scientology. It's a bait to bring them in because it's based upon the Dianetic principles of, oh, well, we can help you uplift yourself spiritually and dig up them old bones in your past and help you become a better person. We can unpack all of those bags using Dianetics. Don't worry about your religion. You can stay a Muslim. You can stay a Christian. You can. This is just a personal purging, and then they use that to destroy souls. Okay, let me get back. Let me see if I can do it this way. All right. So this is where you get that satanic thought process where, oh, as soon as you partake in this, you're going to be like a god. I mean, look at everything that they're offering. Look at everything that they say that they can teach you. Precise path leading to a complete and certain understanding of one's true spiritual nature. Oh, so they're going to tell you your true spiritual nature and one's relationship to self, family, groups, mankind, all life forms, the material universe, the spiritual universe, and the supreme being. Scientology addresses the spirit, not the body or mind. See, that's why they don't address and don't care about your nationality. They don't care about, your mental state, anything like that. They claim that they're dealing with nothing but the spirit and believes that man is far more than a product of his environment or his genes. Well, listen, if we're just dealing on that alone, I mean, one scripture that comes to mind, right? They say that they deal in the spirit. Uh, Romans 7. Now let's read verse 14. It says, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin." So if we're talking about the first essences of law or spirit, right? We're dealing with true holiness, true commandment, true law. The Most High said that's how you're going to become more spiritual is being more rooted in the knowledge of the law, which entails being morally righteous, civilly righteous, ceremonially righteous, keeping a righteous diet, right? Learning how to make proper sacrifices for our power will make us more spiritual. Jumping up to verse 20, it says, "Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good." So these things that come through the law are going to make us more spiritual, not the Dianetics, not damn L. Ron Hubbard, and not the Church of Scientology. This is why they sit back and say, "Oh yeah, you keep reading that little Bible if you want to, but I'm on a different level." See, there's plenty of people out there right now. Some of y'all may have been encountering people that you already know. Oh, you're still reading that book. You're stuck in that book, huh? Yeah, yeah, I'm above that. Yeah, I've read the Bible 5 times. Yeah, I already understand that, man. I'm on a different spiritual plane. When you're ready to come up here with me, let me know. See, that's when you get into the false pseudo humanism, higher levels of spirituality, esoteric, understandings and all that other stuff, right? Oh, I'm on a higher spiritual plane. See how that leaks off into all of these other particular doctrines that you may hear going around? It all comes from, Scientology and this way of thinking. And it seeped into many of these religions, whether our people know it or not. We're going to see. We're going to see. Okay. Let's get back to the PowerPoint, right? So it says, what does Scientology continue? Scientology comprises a body of knowledge which extends from certain fundamental truths. Prime among these are, quote, man is a immortal spiritual being. So here they got where they take parts of the scriptures, right, and dealing with the spirit or whatnot, even elements of reincarnation or regeneration, I should say. Um, and they try to talk in these spiritual terms that are based upon the Bible, but they take that and then they go run with it and create their own little ideology. His experience extends well beyond a single lifetime. See, that's when you talk about regeneration. That's a whole nother breakdown that we can prove biblically. You don't need to go through no damn Scientology or the Book of Dianetics to talk about it. His capabilities are unlimited, even if not presently realized. See, that's when you get into the mind frame of you can be whatever you want to be. All you got to do is put your mind to it. You've heard all of these particular quotes, right? Mind over matter, right? Your capabilities are unlimited. All you gotta do is put your mind to it, right? Scientology further holds man to be basically good in that his spiritual salvation depends on himself. Oh, look at that. Basically, man is good, and that his spiritual salvation depends upon himself, his fellows, and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. See how they exile Yahweh? You see how they don't want no parts of our Savior? See that's when you see the evils that come along with this particular document. That's when you see these particular evils come in. Let's look at a few scriptures. Um, Let me see here. Let's go to Jeremiah. I'm gonna go to Jeremiah. Select it real quick. All right. So select remember. Just writing a couple of notes down that I forgot. And some precepts came to my head. Uh, Let me see here. Because this is powerful. When you're looking at where this damn demonic thing comes from, man, you're gonna see that this is completely a doctrine that embraces being an antichrist, right? And it's gonna get a lot of our people destroyed. So let me see here. Let me make sure I'm sharing right. Hold on. Let's see here. Let me turn that volume up. Okay. All right. So after we just got the reading here, one more time. It says Scientology further holds man to be basically good and that his spiritual salvation depends upon himself, his fellows, and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. So you hear that a lot, even within maybe some of your social circles, or you may have even heard people talk about how they're putting things out in the universe. Oh, what the universe brings back. This is an omission of the Most High. This is an omission of Yahweh. They want to talk about the universe. They don't want to talk about our Father who art in heaven. You understand what I'm saying? This is the type of mentality, this is the verbiage that stems from Scientology that you hear now leaking into people's mouths, and they don't even know where this stuff comes from. So, let's go to Isaiah 30. And let's start at verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Most High Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. See, Scientology isn't about acknowledging your wrongs and repenting, right? Scientology isn't talking about dealing with salvation coming through our Savior, Hamashiach Yahushua, who's coming back to judge and destroy the nations and to resurrect the children of Israel through repentance to our rightful place as being the rulers of the earth under his kingship, the Messianic uh, kingdom, right? They're going to cover up with another way. How can I be basically good? Oh, I'm going to do it through Scientology. I want to master my own salvation. White man L. Ron Hubbard taught me how I can actually be a greater spiritual being. I'm going to take things into my own hands. See, these are people that took counsel, but not of the Most High. You see these little creatures, man, they out here in Hollywood, up in Hollywood and Highland. We used to tear their butts up all the time, teaching out in Hollywood, because they'll be out there soliciting anybody and everybody who will listen to them, coming on asking people to come over and take their little stress tests and all this other stuff. And then they try to seduce you into buying the book and talking all this foolishness. And people get swept up off of their feet. profiteering off of the pain and the confusion of our people, right? So they take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Verse 2, that walk to go down into Egypt. Here in spiritual Egypt, they're walking, going down, looking for answers, looking for love in all the wrong places, right? And have not asked in my mouth. They're not asking of the Most High for true answers. They're not seeking it out from the book of the Lord. The scriptures tell us, seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. They don't want to do that. Asked in my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So trusting in another doctrine that comes up out of Egypt, comes from America, comes from the so-called white man, another false doctrine and another false ideology that's put on a plate, and we're being force-fed to eat because no other options are being given to us or being shown to us. Right? You got all these particular denominations and religions that's all put out on a plate saying, here, pick one. Yeah, this is the only thing you can choose from, though. Same way they do with our nationality. I mean, look, the so-called black man, we didn't went from what? Negro, black, colored, African American, Afro American. That's already 5. What? And that we're talking about within the last 70 years or less. Niggas, spig, spook. You feel me? This is what they, lay out there for you. Okay, you want to be Chicano, Latin, Hispanic, not white, Hispanic plus one. You follow what I'm saying? They give us all these choices until you go ahead down and eat. So here's another one that they put on the table, and they say, "Well, I'm not with all these other religions, man. I just want to be spiritual." Okay, well, guess what? We got something for you. Yeah, Scientology. You go ahead and pick that up. Eat that. And those guys over there with the things hanging off of their shirt and standing out there yelling and prophesying and talking about you're the true people of the book, those guys are crazy. Not as crazy as you're going to see the founder of Scientology is. You tell me who's more crazy. All right, verse 3, it says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Let's get another. 1 Corinthians 14 and the 33rd verse says, for the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. So we know that the Most High doesn't deal in confusion. Everything that they laid out there talking about what the Church of Scientology can bring you, the knowledge, all this. Look, man's basically good. No. Man was given a choice. Well, the children of Israel were given a choice in Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, starting at like the 18th verse. Right? Genesis, the 3rd chapter, the Most High said, because we sinned against the Most High, death was at the door. So man started off good and fell into sin. Now it's our job to come out of sin through repentance. Man is not basically a Most High. Moses gave us a choice. He said we got to choose good or evil, life or death. Therefore, choose life. You understand what I'm saying? You're not born good, basically good. And that his spiritual salvation depends upon himself, his fellows, and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. Here's just one more precept on that. Talking about man is basically good. What do we do? What do we do with this? Lamentations 5. Lamentations 5 and 7. It says, our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquity. So how is man basically good when we're born into iniquity? Our fathers are no longer here. Our forefathers have sinned, committed high forms of iniquity against the Most High, put our people in our forefathers and foremothers in cursed conditions, and here we are trying to fight our way out. Number one, knocking down the walls of ignorance of who we are, understanding now, once we learn who we are, then we have to learn about our obligation to fear the Most High, keep the commandments, walk in the paths and the cultures of our forefathers and foremothers, and break away from this world. So man's not basically good. Look, we came into this thing born in iniquities. Unless you were born in this truth, man, and was learning law, statute, and commandment from birth, the rest of us didn't have those things of advantage. All right. Let me get another Proverbs. Proverbs 16. Proverbs 16 and no, I thought I wanted that one. Let me see. First Timothy. Let's go to First Timothy 5. That's Slocky. First Thessalonians. Right. So Scientology is trying to tell somebody that they're going to help you what? Establish peace. You know. Let's see where we at. So what they're trying to create is a synergy within all spiritual beings on the earth, right? A unified, peaceful union where you can become peace with yourself, right? Basically good, and that a spiritual salvation depends upon himself, his fellows, and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. So here we are in First Thessalonians 5:3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, and travail as a woman with a child, and they shall not escape." See, what's coming down the pipeline is not peace. What's coming down the pipeline is death, destruction, mayhem, all hell breaking loose on the earth, all to bring forth judgment upon the wicked and to bring the redemption of the righteous. Scientology, disannuls all of those things, right? They're not trying to have any disruptions in this particular kingdom. They're making millions of dollars, millions of dollars off of this. Leviticus. Let's leave Leviticus. When we're looking at how do we attain peace with our brother, how do we become one with our brother? You see this? Scientology says that through Dianetics and their the works of Scientology, they can help you attain brotherhood with the universe. And you can have spiritual salvation depends upon himself and his fellows, and attainment of brotherhood with the universe. No, the law does all of these things. Leviticus 19:17-18 says, "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him." So we're learning about how, as Israelites, we're supposed to not have hate, vitriol against our brother in our hearts and our minds. And it says, "Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him." So we don't allow sin to plague our brothers. Right? We're supposed to be having iron sharpen iron. We're supposed to save our brothers from sin. We're not supposed to allow them to go off and fall into a ditch of sin. You understand? Verse 18, it says, "Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people." See, this is talking only to the children of Israel. This is not a universal law that pertains to the rest of the nations. How are we supposed to get the nations in order if we don't have this particular principle locked down within ourselves? Okay. Um, so let's look at this. So it says, "Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh." So this is the only way that these things can happen. We can attain those things just by following after the laws and the commandments. We don't have to be worried about no damn Scientology to do that thing. That's why the scripture said that the law is perfect. Uh, Isaiah 12:2, it says, "Behold, the Most High is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for the Lord Yahweh is my strength and my song. He is become my salvation. Do you see how they removed the Most High? Remember back over here, they're saying that Scientology further holds man to be basically good and that his spiritual salvation depends upon himself, not the Most High. What we just read. Behold, the Most High is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for Yahweh is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. This is why you see that this doctrine is full of nothing but deception and devil-like spirits, man. Because they removed the Most High. You want to talk about an Antichrist doctrine? This is it right here. This is it right here. Luke 1. Let's read we'll read 68 on down. It says, blessed be. Let me blow it up a little bit so y'all can see it a little better. Blessed be the power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. It didn't say that we're going to raise up ourselves, that we're responsible for it ourselves. We're going to get our own spiritual salvation built upon Scientology and the book of Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard's false doctrine. No. The Most High gave his only begotten son, Hamashiach Yahweh, to be the mediator between us and him, and to bring the knowledge and the gospel of salvation to his people through repentance. Right? And he have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies. L. Ron Hubbard is an enemy, so-called Negro and Hispanic, following after that foolishness, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. This is in the New Testament. We're talking about enemies and them that hate us. I mean, where are we getting this doctrine that Yahweh came to give salvation to the whole world and whosoever believes, and he loved everybody? That clearly is not being stated here. That a horn of salvation is going to be coming through the lineage of David. This was spoken on by the prophets, and his job was to deliver us from our enemies and from everybody that hates on us. That sounds like somebody who is a revolutionary, right? Somebody coming in to save the oppressed. Somebody trying to save people who are being hated on and discriminated against. Somebody who's been victimized for centuries. Okay. Continuing on, it says to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and in righteousness before him all the days of our lives. And thou, child, shalt be called the prophet of the highest, for thou shalt go before the face of the Lord to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation. Let me read that again. To give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins. The knowledge of salvation comes to this book via Yahweh Shai and the prophets that were before him, not through L. Ron Hubbard. Okay. Let me see. 2 Timothy 2. Let's read verse 10. It says, therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahweh with eternal glory. So how in the hell are we going to talk about it through Scientology? How can Scientology tell you that you're going to be able to your spiritual salvation is going to be dependent upon yourself? Do you see how this is an Antichrist-based doctrine? They completely remove not only the Most High, but Yahweh Shai out the picture as well, thus throw out the Bible as well. Even though they'll sit back and say, oh, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic, oh, great, good for you. Well, come on in, let's talk about it. We don't need it. We respect all religions. Oh, yeah, we know that there's a supreme being, but they don't tell you who their supreme being is. They'll go for all of that, right? to lure you in. Um, Let me get a couple more. And let's go to Hebrews 5. Hebrews 5. Let's read 8 and 9. It says, though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. Verse 9. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him. Speaking about who? Yahweh Shai. He's the author of eternal salvation, right? Only through obedience of the Most High and Yahweh Shai can we seek or be able to obtain salvation through the grace and mercies of the Most High. You understand? It's not coming no other way. This is straight up bullshit. You know the rest that they're pushing through Scientology. John 10, verse 1, it says, verily I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Wait till you hear L. Ron Hubbard's voice, man. You tell me who's listening to this quack damn demon, man. Okay? You can't go no other way. He that entereth in by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. There's no other getting around it. Oh, I'm gonna try to look. Let's drop down. Verse 7. Then said Yahweh unto them again, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. You know who the thief is? The so-called white man. The used car salesman, smiling, L. Ron Hubbard, science fiction writer, developed his own little religious doctrine, developed into a cult, right? Came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And I come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. All right. So this is how we see some of the things that are based upon this doctrine of Scientology, right? So let me get back over here. Is my screen share still? I just see a black screen. It's like it. Hopefully it's sharing right. Let me see something. Okay. And these spirits is moving right now. All right. So let's get back to it. Now, if we look at even within Scientology, man, they have even their own little idols. They're their own little idols, which I'm gonna show you in a minute. Now, they do it all with this stuff, man. I'm trying to find my images here. Looks like I got them here. Okay. Aleister Crowley. Damn, there you go. I couldn't remember the damn demon's name earlier, but Aleister Crowley is L. Ron Hubbard's white zaddy. And if you know about Aleister Crowley, this is a high witch involved in the occult, satanic worship, the father of Anton LaVey, who is the father of the Church of Satan. And this is where L. Ron Hubbard got some of his knowledge from, we're going to see as we continue on in a second. I just want to make sure I got all my slides in order, and should I guess I'll be more professional on the next go round. I was kind of adding on to, because like I said, I did this maybe like 8 years ago, maybe 2016, somewhere around there, and I wanted to add a couple of other things onto this, and I wanted to make sure that I had it lined up. So I'm just kind of putting a couple things in order on the background, but I'm gonna share with y'all in a second. Give me 1 second. And we'll get it. Put that one there. And something else I'm gonna share with y'all too in a second. Very interesting stuff, man. These guys is out of control. Look like I'm almost there. Oops. Okay. All right, Slucky, y'all. Let's get to it. Let me get to it. I got a couple of videos on here too. I want to make sure it was loading and playing right. Okay. So let me get back over here. So where were we? So we'll go right here, right? So it says Scientology comes from the Latin "skio," which means knowledge, and the Greek logos, which means reason or study. Thus, Scientology is literally the study of knowledge. The founder of Scientology was the late L. Ron Hubbard, according to the Scientology Abridged Dictionary. So they're saying that the study of knowledge only comes through, well, Scientology is based after the study of knowledge, right? Well, what does the Bible say in Proverbs? Proverbs 1. It says, the fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So, what we're going to be seeing and understanding is dealing in Scientology, dealing in L. Ron Hubbard and his folly is straight up foolishness. And they despise wisdom and instructions. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge. That's where it all starts at. Scientology is not going to be based upon no damn knowledge. Trust and believe. Here's the idol that they have in Scientology, and we're going to see that even the roots of this thing is based after uh, idolatry and false deity worship. Let me see another one. First Samuel 2:3, it says, "There is none holy as Yahweh, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our power." Right. So this is the thing that we have to have solidified in our minds. Our people can't be wavering, trying to figure out where they're at in life. What are they trying to do? Everything gets rooted all the way back to the Bible. Scientology tries to push the Most High, push Yahweh side, push the Bible out, push the prophets out, and say, "Look, you got it all within you. Follow after our principles, follow after our fake little spirituality, understand your inner thetan, and the thetan is the soul, according to them, right? There's all kind of madness that goes on within this doctrine, man. You got the Galactic Confederacy with their overlord Xenu. I mean, we'll talk about all that in a minute, man. It's unbelievable. I don't even understand how these people even follow after this foolishness, but nonetheless, it goes down. All right, so let's continue on here. Here's the idol of Scientology, right? When you're dealing with idol worship, we understand and know where that all comes from. We'll get right to the law. Ain't gonna waste too much time. You see that cross on there, very similar. As much as they like to proclaim, well, they are a religion. Whether they agree to it or not, their religion, and they have a cross that is based after their representation of their doctrine, right? So Exodus 23 says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." Well, let's get a greater understanding of graven. What is graven? Let's go to see what we had it there. So it says refers to household gods of idolaters. Every nation and city had its own gods, yet every family had its own separate household tutelary god. Right. So I really wanted to see a better definition of that. Uh, it's really breaking down into a carved or sculpted image. Right. Let's see if you know what? Maybe I can do it off of here. No. See that here? A carved, or which means graven, or an idol, right? So at the roots of all these particular doctrines of wickedness, man, there's always an idol involved. There's always a false idol that's predicated upon belief. So here's their idol, right? What is it similar to? If anybody's familiar with the Rosicrucians, the Rosicrucians are so-called enlightened individuals that deal in matters of the occult. The Rosicrucians is a cold group. They've infiltrated religions upon religions, even dating back to the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, uh, from the so-called One West era. There's a history behind that, which I'm not going to get into. I wasn't there, but I was in the truth at the time. News travels fast within Israel, you know, and it was very well known that this group infiltrated, persuaded, bribed high-ranking members of a particular camp, and pretty much uprooted and destroyed a lot of souls. Same way that the Church of Scientology does within these modern day denominations. So this is the cross of Rosicrucians, right? But look at this. You see the imagery. I'm gonna show you side by side in a minute, but just do your own research in regards to the Rosicrucian order and what that involves. All right. Stolen from a satanic doctrine known as the Rosicrucian Order. It began as a cultural movement, also referred to by historian Dame Frances Yates as the Rosicrucian Enlightenment. It aroused in Europe in the 17th century after the publication of the Rosicrucian Manifestos, which purported to announce the existence of a hitherto unknown esoteric order to the world and made seeking its knowledge attractive to many. Did you hear that? Remember, the Rosicrucians are, this is a group of individuals who proclaim to have high forms of knowledge and esoteric understandings, hidden knowledge, and things of that nature, right? These are the high levels of knowledge that people want to attain to get into different levels of spirituality, money, manipulation, so forth and so on, right? Now, notice the kinship that through the Rosicrucian Manifestos, it's purported to announce the existence of a hitherto unknown esoteric order to the world and made seeking its knowledge attractive to many. Well, what did we just read earlier? Scientology means what? knowledge, and the Greek logos, which means reason and study. Scientology is literally the study of knowledge. See where I'm going with it? Going with it? Okay, now watch this. As the mysterious doctrine of the aforementioned order, it is allegedly built on esoteric truths of the ancient past. See, they're going to proclaim that they've got knowledge of the ancients. You always hear that argument, even within the Kemetic community. Well, who was here first? Who had what first? The Bible stole this. Everybody claims that they've got ancient knowledge. Everybody claims that they got things that are hidden or been decoded. And at the end of the day, this is all false doctrines. So continuing on, it says it was allegedly built on esoteric truths of the ancient past, which concealed from the average man. Now, this is something that you got to understand. Even with Scientology, Scientology has different levels of understanding. As you progress and you do your auditing and all this other stuff, you accelerate in the ranks, and then you get exposed to even more so-called hidden knowledge, similar to Freemasonry and things like that. Principles are very much the same, right? So it says, which concealed from the average man, provide insight into nature, the physical universe, and the spiritual realm. Oh, so the Rosicrucians, they want to talk about the physical universe, spiritual realm. Doesn't it sound familiar with the principles of Scientology? All right. The manifesto do not elaborate extensively on the matter, but clearly combine references to the Kabbalah, which is the fake esoteric knowledge that the small hat GMO Jews proclaim, numerology and all that other stuff, right? Hermeticism and the imagery of Christianity. See, they have a form of righteousness. They have a form of Christianity. See how they got all these universal symbols and signs all in here, the male, the female, the satanic pentagram, all these other things up in here, man. All the symbolisms that they got, the rose in the middle. See, all these symbols have meanings behind it. But if you see here, you've got the cross, then you've got the extensions coming out here with the I, the N, the I, and the R, right? Look here. Same thing, cross with the extensions coming out. Okay. Here's the comparison. You see it. You see it there. Okay. Now, let's get to this guy. Aleister Crowley, Witchcraft and the Occult. The symbol of the Rosy Cross played a substantial role within the system of Thelema, as developed by Aleister Crowley. Going back here, this is the Rosy Cross. See, the Rosicrucian cross, the Rosy Cross. Okay, getting back into this guy. Look here, you see the pentagram dealing with satanic worship, right? Now, it says the symbol of the Rosy Cross played a substantial role within the system of Thelema, as developed by Aleister Crowley. In a cosmological context, the rose is Nuit, or Nut, the infinitely expanded goddess of the night sky, and the cross is Hadit, the ultimately contracted atomic point. For Crowley, it was the job of the adept to identify with the appropriate symbol, so to experience the mystical conjunction of opposites, which leads to attainment. In this sense, the rose cross is a grand symbol of the great work. So, dealing with his satanic cult, intertwined with elements of Egyptology, all is going to lead you into great mystical conjunctions and all the attaining to your true atomic spirit, all this foolishness, man. Here he is right here. Ordinary morality is only for ordinary people. Notice how the same type of principles that Scientology is supposed to bring you up onto higher planes, a higher spiritual level. It's supposed to bring you up, in your inner self. Okay. This is where you get to the ultimate doctrine of really what it is: humanism. It's an outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or supernatural matters. So we've understood that. Remember, it said that this thing is going to give yourself the knowledge of salvation, and it's going to have you, create peace and oneness with your fellow brothers and the universe and supreme being and, all this other stuff, right? But it eliminates the Most High Yahweh Shai in the scriptures. Same way humanism does. An outlook, a system of thought attaching prime importance to human, right? Rather than divine or supernatural matters. Humanist beliefs stress the potential value and goodness of human beings. Remember that? Scientology believes we're mostly good. Mankind is mostly good. Humanist beliefs stress the potential value and goodness of human beings. Potential value. Remember, they said that you're greater than what you think you are. Put your mind to it. You can overcome and you can achieve. You can be greater. Emphasize common human needs and seek solely rational ways of solving human problems. A Renaissance cultural movement that turned away from medieval scholasticism and revived interest in ancient Greek and Roman thought. So this is why you're going to see, even dating back to the word Scientology is broken down through Greek wording, meaning to study knowledge. So this all goes back to and ties into the so-called white man. Make no mistake about it. Going all the way back to the third beast, being Greece, falling into the fourth beast of Daniel, the seventh chapter, being Rome, right? So it's based off of these same principles. So continuing on. Now this guy right here, this is who brought L. Ron Hubbard into the satanic cult of Aleister Crowley. Jack Parsons. Look at this. And mind you, when we read this, you're going to see the true nature of Esau. 1941, Parsons started to have a sexual relationship with his wife, Helen's 17-year-old sister, Sarah, something that was encouraged by his church. His wife started a relationship with one of the church's most senior members, Talbot Smith. The four of them, along with other Thelemites, ended up moving into a large house together in Pasadena. Drugs flowed freely, as did sexual partners. The lodge attracted negative attention, with the police and FBI receiving allegations that it played host to a cult involved in sexual orgies and black magic, although upon investigation it was deemed not to represent a threat to national security. You keep wondering, I'm sure y'all wondering, what are the Thelemites? I should have had that on here. Let me show you something. Let's see. See, here's one guy right here. Here you go, Jack Parsons. Just pulled him up in the spirit. John Whiteside Parsons was an American rocket engineer, chemist, and Thelemite occultist. And here's a knowledge about Thelema. Thelema is a Western esoteric and occult social or spiritual philosophy, as well as a new religious movement that was founded in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley, an English writer, mystic, occultist, and ceremonial magician. Central to Thelema is the idea, but we'll look at that in a second, right? But here you see. So just putting two to two together, John Whiteside or John Parsons had a relationship and a knowledge that he was in the Thelemite occultists. So he was part of the satanic cult of Aleister Crowley. Now, look who he was dealing with. L. Ron Hubbard and the Babylon Working, 1945 to 46. They worked together. Now here, you see, this is L. Ron Hubbard right here. Parsons befriended L. Ron Hubbard. Now disassociated with JPL and Aerojet, Parsons, a former founded the Ad Astra Engineering Company, under which Parsons founded the chemical manufacturing Vulcan Powder Company. Let's get down to the business, man. Okay, see here. Science fiction writer Yeah, I wasn't just saying that. That's what he was. Science fiction writer and U.S. Navy officer L. Ron Hubbard soon moved into the parsonages. He and Parsons became close friends. Parsons wrote to Crowley that although Hubbard had no formal training in magic, when you spell like that, you're dealing with the occult. You're dealing with Satanism. And no formal training in magic, he has an extraordinary amount of experience and understanding in the field. Did you hear that? Although he didn't have any training, he was already had experience and understanding in the field of magic, dealing with the occult and dealing with satanic principles. So, from some of his experiences, I deduce he is in a direct touch with some higher intelligence, possibly his guardian angel. He is the most thelemic person I've ever met and is in complete accord with his own principles. Let's see, what else can we pull up out of here? Okay. Parsons and Sarah were in an open relationship encouraged by the OTO's polyandrous sexual ethics. You hear a lot of this type of relationships going on right now, polyandry, where you got a woman married with two men, they all live in the same house. You got a man with two women and another man, and they all sharing the same bed. The men are sleeping with each other, the women sleeping with each other, the men sleeping with the women, all kind of folly going on. This is what Jack Parsons or John Parsons was involved in, along with L. Ron Hubbard and his wives. See, it says she became enamored with Hubbard. Parsons, despite attempting to repress his passions, became intensely jealous. Motivated to find a new partner through occult means, Parsons began to devote his energies to conducting black magic, causing concern among fellow OTO members who believed that it was invoking troublesome spirits into parsonage. Jane Wolfe wrote to Crowley that our own Jack is enamored with witchcraft and Humford voodoo. From the start, he always wanted to invoke something no matter what. I'm inclined to link, as long as he got a result. He told the residents that he was imbuing statues in the house with a magical energy in order to sell them to fellow occultists. Parsons reported paranormal events in the house resulting from the rituals, including poltergeist activity, sightings of orbs, and ghostly apparitions, alchemical sulfuric effect, and weather and disembodied voices. Let's drop down here. Pendle suggested that Parsons was particularly susceptible to these interpretations and attributed the voices to a prank by Hubbard and Sarah. One ritual alleged brought screaming banshees to the windows of parsonage, an incident that disturbed Foreman for the rest of his life. In December 1945, Parsons began a series of rituals based on Enochian magic, during which he did this, you see, onto magical tablets. This is who L. Ron Hubbard's hanging with. This is who he's living with. Let's drop down. He allowed Hubbard to take part as his scribe, believing that he was particularly sensitive to detecting magical phenomena. As described by Richard Metzger, Parsons did this in the name of spiritual advancement. You see what they're into? While Hubbard scanned the astral plane for signs and visions. Try to keep it clean on YouTube. I'm not going to say these, but you see what they was into. Okay, you do more research on it. And we said we was going to look at a Thelemite. So, let me scroll up. This is their daddy right here. See? Let me get back up to where I was. Slide at the top. A Thelemite. Basically, in there, cult. Look here. Thelema is a Western esoteric and occult social or spiritual philosophy, as well as a new religious movement that was founded in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley, an English writer, mystic, occultist, and ceremonial magician. Central to Thelema is the idea of discovering and following one's true will, a unique purpose and calling that goes beyond ordinary desires. Crowley's system begins with the book of the law. Imagine that. But it's not the Torah. This is the satanic book of the law. A text, he said, was dictated to him by an entity named Iwas. This foundational work lays out key principles, including the central axiom: do what thou wilt shall be the whole law. All right. And many have seen even pictures of Jay-Z with shirts like that on, you know, but you can do more research on the doctrine of Thelema, the occult, the satanic doctrine that's involving. But if you connect the dots, it leads back to Jack Parsons, who brought along L. Ron Hubbard, who then was his scribe, documenting all of this occultic behavior that's going on in there, watching the dude masturbate while he's looking for paranormal activity. You know, this is what this is all about. This is what he was into. Okay. So getting back over here. Now, in 1945, science fiction writer and later the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, moved into Pasadena Lodge. Sarah took an interest in Hubbard, which made Parsons jealous. He developed a deeper interest in witchcraft and the darker side of magic, becoming fascinated by poltergeists and ghostly apparitions. In a bid to find conjure up a new lover, he took part in extraordinary rituals where he would do this to himself onto magical tablets to the sound of music. After his girlfriend ran off with Hubbard, he decided to create his own girlfriend and summon an elemental. This is his good buddy. This is his daddy who taught him, brought him into the fold. He moves into their house. Then he commits adultery and takes Jack Parsons' wife. This is what people following after. All right. Here, science fiction writer, author, creator of Dianetics, former naval officer, discharged due to physical disabilities, was demoted from his office position in command of ships after proving incompetent. That's really why he was demoted and ultimately discharged. He said that he had all kind of disabilities, and none of that was ever found true. They couldn't find out anything that was wrong with him, man. This dude lied about his military background, said he got injured in war and all that. There's no record of him even seeing war. All right, watch this guy.
Could I just stop you here? Did I understand you to say that a person's IQ can be raised through Scientology?
Oh, yes. This is the one.
This is him right here. Now, he's being interviewed, and he says that through Scientology, your IQ can be, through Dianetics, your IQ can be raised. Oh, yes. Watch him.
I understand you to say that a person's IQ can be raised through Scientology?
Oh, yes. This is the one thing that Scientology has upset the world's universities with. They used to say that IQ never changed. Nobody could ever change. Nobody could be any different than anybody ever was. And this was quite interesting because when we finally demonstrated this with their own IQ tests, why, they became very, very upset and began to test much more widely. And they tested people before Scientology processing and after Scientology processing, uniformly found that their IQ had raised.
Who's they?
The professors, the fields, the schools of philosophy.
You hear him BSing? The schools of philosophy, the scientists, I mean, can't name any true university, any scholastic scholar, any scientist, any educator that took these IQ tests. And you got to watch this guy, man, because he's talking with a smile. And it always reminds me of like a car salesman, or a scammer that's talking through his teeth. You understand? Let me Let's look at this. Sirach 13. Sirach 13:6 says, if he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee. So when you see this guy talking, man, he's talking through his teeth. He's talking through his teeth, and you see him expounding upon this lie, talking about that once somebody went through the rigmaroles, the rigors of Dianetics and their practices, the unidentified they, found that a person's IQ really was raised following after his principles. Now, if you have need of it, he'll deceive thee. So you buy my book, come to the church, spend your money, go out and do your auditing and go out there and be like a Jehovah's Witness and sit out there in the streets and try to recruit people. Oh, he's going to smile upon you. Put thee in hope and he will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou? I want a higher IQ. Okay. Follow after my Dianetics. I'll show you how to do it. Hold on. Let me get one more. Sirach 21. There's another one. Sirach 21:20 says, a fool lifted up his voice with laughter, but a wise man doth scarce smile a little. So if there was really wisdom in what he was saying, he wouldn't be smiling and talking like he was. Okay? That's one thing for sure. But a fool lifted up his voice with laughter. So just watch how he talks, man. Analyze the body language. Analyze how he's speaking.
Could be any different than anybody ever was. And this was quite interesting because when we finally demonstrated this with their own IQ tests, why, they became very, very upset and began to test much more widely. And they tested people before Scientology processing and after Scientology processing, and uniformly found that their IQ had raised.
Who's they?
The professors, the fields, the schools of philosophy, schools of psychology, and so on, the nearest organization, and they would go there, and they would get training, or as we call it, processing, and so on.
Can you describe processing?
Processing is the principle of making an individual look at his own existence and to improve his ability to confront what he is and where he is.
Now, hold on. He said that's what you do processing through.
Man is asleep, does survive.
Let me bask.
Of course, you're asking a very, very technical. Processing is the principle of making an individual look at his own existence and to improve his ability to confront.
You see his face as he's trying to just develop the lies. He continues on. Processing. This guy's from America. Why are you talking about process? It's processing. Processing. Yeah, I guess he feels like if he develop a fake accent, it's gonna make him sound more intelligent. But he said that processing, to quote him, is forcing the individual to look within himself. Well, the Most High told us to do that already in 2 Chronicles 13:5. It says, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. So that's processing, according to the Most High. You don't have to listen to L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology to tell you about how to look within yourself. The Most High told us that we need to do that on a regular, to examine whether we're being in the faith, whether we're being solid and being held accountable by our actions, moving accordingly, learning and applying the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what real processing is, not what he's talking about. You don't have to go through Dianetics, and you don't have to go through any false doctrines that this damn demon put out there. Because if we stuck with the Bible, we'll have all this already. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves. How that Mashiach Yahushua is in you, except ye be reprobates. So a reprobate is one who's considered to be unacceptable, evil, a denier of the faith. So this is what we base upon our checks and balances is based upon, are we being reprobates? Are we being unacceptable and evil in the way in the eyes of the Most High? If we are, then we have to repent. We got to change our ways. We got to sharpen ourselves. We got to do better. But this is where the true processing comes from. But he developed this old fake lie about what it is through his doctrine.
Could I just stop?
Of course, you're asking a very, very technical question.
Scientology have any dogma at all? For instance, life after death.
What he is and where he is.
To make him look at his own existence.
That's right.
And confront where he is and what he is.
That's right.
How is this brought about?
You just ask the person to look, actually. Of course, you're asking a very, very technical question.
Scientology have any dogma at all? For instance, life after death.
Life after death is life after death. And you can't lay down a dogma where you're dealing with fact. And it's very interesting that an individual does survive life after death, but I'm afraid that's too technical and a question to go into in a program of this nature.
Are you saying that Scientology has proved this?
Yeah.
Through science.
So again, here he is, unable to explain regeneration. We know that's a biblical principle, but he tries to make it seem like this is only coming through Scientology and this man never died. It's a very technical question, too deep for this program. Remember, they always want to talk about as if they got some higher level occultic, esoteric knowledge that regular old people can't attain to. And the only way that you're going to get it is if you join them and you go through the ranks of auditing and you go through the ranks of being their spiritual servants and serving the fake church in order to be brought up to these levels. All right. So there he is acting like a damn devil, hiding. Oh, I've got secret knowledge. This is too deep for this particular program.
A question to go into in a program of this nature.
Are you saying that Scientology has proved this? You
Yeah.
said that through Scientology processing, a person was able to look at the problems, to confront the problems that they were facing in their everyday life. Is this some form of hypnotism?
Oh, no. That's very funny. Man is asleep. He is hypnotized. He is made to.
No, man's not asleep. The children of Israel are asleep. All right. So this is why the Most High even told us. He takes these particular principles. He tries to set them up and create this universal thing. Isaiah 29 tells us. Isaiah 29, 9 and 10 says, "Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink." This is the spiritual condition of the children of Israel, the blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. We've been put in a spiritual slumber, spiritual hangover, spiritual drunkenness that has us losing our wits. We don't have the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding to be able to come and serve the Most High anymore. We're out there losing our minds, walking around, stumbling spiritually out there in the world with no real understanding about how to get ourselves back centered. Verse 10, it says, "For the Most High have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered." So, yeah, man is it. We're not talking about man in general. We're talking about the children of Israel. The spirit of deep sleep has been poured upon us. We're the ones who are asleep at the wheel. We're the ones who are lost to who we are, lost to our laws and our commandments, lost to how to truly embrace and worship and honor our Father, right? Lost to understanding who our enemies are, lost to understanding what our true heritage is. Because even in Jeremiah 17, in verse 4, it tells us we've been discontinued from our heritage. So we're sleeping in all manners, right? But he's trying to take that and run with it. Let's continue.
To fixate on certain things, you see, and the process that you normally know as brainwashing and that sort of thing is hypnotizing man. It's forcing him into certain values. It's crowding him by various duress into these values.
You see him selling
and
it?
he eventually becomes a person who has no awareness. Now, in Scientology, reverse the process, and you make him wake up. And he gradually gets more and more alert, and he's more and more wide awake.
See, only Scientology is going to wake you up, right? That's the only thing that's going to wake you up. Romans 13. What were we told? Romans 13. Romans 13:10 says, love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. Once we attain to the law and we still really start falling in love with the law and the commandments and the ways that the Most High laid down to us, it says now is the time for us to wake out of sleep. You're not going to get woke out of sleep through no damn Scientology. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. That's the true essences of salvation. Scientology is talking about they can show you how to get to your own spiritual salvation without the Most High, without Christ. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to play a little bit more of this and then I'm going to move on. But you see, he's out here selling it. Smiling and giggling and trying to sound deep.
With Scientology, because such a man becomes unbrainwashed, you might say. He becomes unhypnotized. And that was one of the first things I discovered about processing. It was actually the basic discovery of processing, that man was asleep and he had to wake up. And then I went about trying to find out ways and means of how to make him do this, and that became processing.
Do you use drugs in any way?
No, never. Once in a while, Scientologists take.
You hear that? No, never. Didn't we just get to reading about him and hanging out with Jack Parsons? Drugs, orgies, all kind of stuff going on at that house in Pasadena. You see, it says, we found him in a hotel in Las Palmas, and the next day I went back to see if he was all right because he did not seem to be too well. When I went into his room, there were drugs of all kinds everywhere. He seemed to be taking about 60,000 different pills. I was appalled, particularly after listening to all his tirades against drugs and medical professions. You know, before I continue on, under Article 107 of the Fair Use Act of 1976, this video is being used under fair use. This is my comments, my commentary, and my teachings based upon the subject matter. So this is being used under fair use. All right. Fair use.
Vitamins or something like that to allow Scientologists to take vitamins or something like that.
Vitamins? What is that? Vitamins. Processing. I mean, knock it off, man.
Well, just like anybody else does, but otherwise no drugs.
Is there any equipment used in this processing?
Yes, we have a meter, one of the most misunderstood objects that anybody had anything to do with.
The meters. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's continue. All right, so here's his book. All right, and the book it gets into the two sides of the brain. Okay, the analytical and the reactive side of the brain. So here he is. L. Ron Hubbard, Dianetics, the modern science of mental health. You notice how right now mental health is such a big topic now. You got people like Charlemagne the God pressing it, trying to make sure that it get infiltrated within our communities. It's not to say that mental health does not exist. Those things definitely exist. The scriptures will call them spirits, you know, that we have to overcome, or that we have to address, or that we have to bear with. But all healing comes from the Most High, right? But here we're dealing with his aspect of dealing with mental health, and basically him trying to teach you how to conquer it by yourself, on your own. No need for the Most High, no need for your outside, no need to repent. Okay. So it says there's two sides of the brain. The analytical, which is computer-like, stores memory, never makes mistakes. The reactive stores anxiety, stress, etc. Stored by engrams, which are like memories. In other words, an engram is like fears. You have people within the organization that are called auditors. An auditor is similar to a therapist. So when you're dealing with Scientology and somebody says that they're auditor, their role is to be like the therapist. They're going to walk you through, you know, the essences of Dianetics and how to self-examine and how to self-heal and face your mental health issues head on. And they're going to walk you through the process, right? And then they use these things called e-meters. This is what you see the people out on the streets doing. If you ever see them, you know, like I said, here in California, LA, Hollywood, they got the church. They've got the Scientology building right out Hollywood and Highland. They get all of the tourists. They get everybody walking up and down the streets, and they have these e-meters that they sit people down and ask them, do they want to, take a little stress test and all of that. And they sit them down and then they ask you a series of questions. And it's similar to like just the guy wrote here. Heart lie detectors supposed to show less effect. The engrams have once you confess your issues, fears, secrets, etc., which means you are expelling the stored reactive thoughts or memories. Almost like shock therapy, it works through electromagnetic waves. It observes traumatic or stressful incidences. So this is what these e-meters are when you see them posted up, dealing with that. Okay. Let's move on. Now look at this guy. Yeah, you guessed it. You guessed it. The NOI, the Nation of Islam, is co-opted with the Church of Scientology since early 2000s. They've been partners. Back then, Farrakhan said that he used Dianetics, which he learned through Tony Muhammad, which is the head of the mosque here in LA, as a means to deal with Black trauma, and how well it can help us learn about ourselves and, confront our past and, sympathize or understand, what happened to us and all of that. I guess the Quran couldn't do that, huh? You need a little more outside help, man. Elijah Muhammad's probably rolling in his grave. Khalid Muhammad rolling in his grave. All of the so-called great men of the NOI. I mean, I remember in the Keep It Real, before I came into the truth, I looked into Islam. I never fully committed, but I started learning the tenets of the NOI and whatnot. And I remember one of the first brothers that I seen speak live was Khalid Muhammad. And that brother was a powerful brother, man. Powerful brother, powerful speaker, man. He had me thinking like, man, this is what I need to be. I don't know how many devils the so-called white man was called in that speech. And that was a stance that the Nation of Islam took for years, that they understood that the so-called white man was a devil. Now that no longer exists. He's a partner now. Listen. I'm just speed up.
To lie dormant. But the auditing process brings it up, and it's like bringing up demons.
You hear what he's talking about? The auditing process. So this is him dealing with the therapy of Dianetics, bringing up demons, bringing up your past. Really doing the work of self-examining. This is what he's saying Dianetics did for him. The Muhammad couldn't do it for him. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad couldn't do it for him. The Quran couldn't do it for him. What he knew of the scriptures of the Bible didn't do it for him. It took L. Ron Hubbard and Dianetics to do this for him. I guess when you doing the real work of a auditor and you're realizing, you're understanding Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68, and you're reading about the prophecies and all that, that's really facing and understanding your past and dealing with your spirits. That wasn't enough convincing for him. But let's continue.
Out of us, and just as this book Bible says, that was the work of Jesus.
No, see, he's out of pocket. He's saying that the book of Dianetics is just like the Bible, and it teaches you the same things that Jesus taught. when we just got through seeing that the principles of Scientology, which is the roots and the forerunner, I mean, and Dianetics is the forerunner of Scientology. They tell you that Dianetics in the Church of Scientology will teach you how to attain your own spiritual salvation. So it clearly ain't the works of Christ. What's he talking about? See, this is the fork-tongued nature of Farrakhan, man. Back in 2010, he said that we're the children of Israel. It was plastered on their final call papers. He's readily admitted that all day long, but then double backs and goes and still follows after Islam. Then he tries to, be a double-minded man and say, well, we need both the Quran and we need the Bible. Oh, the white man's the devil, the Jew. You've heard all of his rhetoric. Now he's double back and saying, man, everything's good. He loves the so-called white man. Man like that, man, you can't trust.
How can you say you love Jesus the Christ when he was an exorciser of demons out of the people?
But he used the church, he used the book of Dianetics to do that? Come on, man. Look at these lost Negroes. If they love Yahweh so much, man, why the hell are they sitting in the mosque? And in the midst of these people, you're gonna see some Edomite heads in there too. Watch.
And when the demons were coming out, they were screaming. They didn't just come out peacefully. When those fellas were coming up out of the human consciousness or unconsciousness into consciousness to bring past into present so that you could get rid of the past and make a future for yourself.
Here they go. You remember L. Ron Hubbard bumbling, talking about, I know mankind is lost. He's asleep. So it took him to help Farrakhan understand the plight and the mentality of our people, to know that we're lost. I mean, Deuteronomy, it's like Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We just got to read Isaiah 29:10 that the Most High poured upon us deep sleep. So where and why are you now talking about, oh, we need to, this helped me come from unconsciousness to consciousness and to develop the past and bury the past and so we can have a future? What?
How could I see something that valuable and know the hurt and sickness of my people and not offer it to them?
He's talking about the book of Dianetics. He's saying, how could he see something so valuable that worked for him and not offer it to his people? I thought you're supposed to be offering the Quran. You're supposed to be offering the Bible. That's what he proclaimed and stood on for years on end, until around maybe 2005, maybe earlier than that. Well, I remember at least 2005, 6, 7, maybe a little bit after that. I know for sure they were involved in that, or started dealing with L. Ron Hubbard's Dianetics. So they would say they're not part of Scientology, but they follow after the principles of Dianetics and subscribe to the book, lining the pockets of the deceased L. Ron Hubbard. Money funnels back to the Church of Scientology. So the more you telling these black folks in these damn mosques to go buy the book, the money's going to the Church of Scientology. Oh, but you see, he's selling it though, because he's getting kickbacks for it.
So the criticism, well, Mr. Hubbard was a racist. I don't know that. I don't know that.
Nigga, she don't know if she want to laugh or cry, man. She's so confused. Unreal.
And I wouldn't care.
That's not the Farrakhan that I knew in the early 90s, in the 80s, the speeches that I saw in the 70s and the 60s. He doesn't care if the white man is racist all of a sudden now? Interesting.
You don't have a good understanding of racism. You don't. I don't have time today to go into it, but hey, can you imagine white folk calling me a racist? That Farrakhan is a racist. Wait. How am I a racist? Well, you talk bad about white people. No, white people history talks bad about them.
Oh, look who's in the crowd. There goes Tom right here. Look at John back here. Very interesting who's within the crowd.
And there are some white people who want to escape that history and try to be better than their fathers. I don't fault them for that. Farrakhan is a racist. How many people have I enslaved? He's an anti-Semite. How many Jews have I?
See, now he's filibustering, getting off of the little shock therapy that he was just promoting earlier, dealing with Scientology and all that. Rocked them to sleep, threw that in their lap. Oh, I'd be wrong if I didn't give him this up. Now he switches it back on himself. Then he's gonna double back. Watch this.
Beat up, boycotted. None. But we have the record of their deeds against black people. Should not I expose them to their own record?
Now he's trying to act like he's back on this revolutionary thing. See the fork-tongued nature of this guy? It's a shame. It is a shame. And now the niggas want to get up. Oh, yeah. But watch this.
Some of you, my silly brothers and sisters, would say, get over it. Get over what? You can't keep talking about what happened yesterday. Hell, what happened yesterday is what's driving your madness today.
Happened yesterday, driving your madness today, right? So again, Deuteronomy 28:15-68 answers that. But look who he credits for helping the so-called Negro come to that understanding.
So I found a tool that I know can help us. And I thank God for Mr. L. Ron Hubbard.
I'm done. You heard that? This is who he credits waking him up. After he just went on this tirade about the so-called white man and his histories and his past and everything that he did to us, and he's not going to let that go, and it's only his right to expose it, and the second and third. Then he doubles back and says he thanks God for his white zaddy L. Ron Hubbard. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Enough of that.
And
enough of that. Here goes Minister Tony Muhammad. This is the brother that introduced Farrakhan to it. Now you see him. You see the cross here? Remember this? This is him being he's the Western regional representative of the Nation of Islam. I forgot what number mosque it is here in LA. When I was first coming into truth, we had a little incident with the Muslims, and Tony Muhammad came to our school, had a meeting with the elders. We, brother squashed our little beef or whatnot, man, and kept it moving. So, there's a little personal history between him and us early off back in like 95, I believe it was. But Tony Muhammad, matter of fact, I got a little information on our brother Tony. And I'm gonna start speeding through this real quick for time's sake. But you see here, Tony Muhammad. This is a Wikipedia page. All right. From 1995 to the present. So he was head 95. Maybe it might have been 96. It couldn't have been no later than 96 that we had that incident with them. But anyway, dropping down here, right? Tony Muhammad. Here we go. I thought it was in that time frame. 2005, Muhammad got Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan interested in Scientology, saying Scientology, not Dianetics. Scientology helped him recover from psychological shock of his police arrest. Tony Muhammad had an incident with the police, led to a big court case, all kind of stuff that was going on. But anyway, he says that he needed help overcoming the trauma of his police arrest. Church of Scientology helped him do that. He tells Farrakhan, "Hey, we need to get into this, man. This is going to, be a new way that we can kind of get to the minds of the people." It says Farrakhan has since then organized mass Scientology seminars for Nation of Islam members. Muhammad has been, that's what we just got to seeing. Muhammad has been appearing in Scientology promotional videos in 2017 and received International Association Scientologist Freedom Medal Award. Freedom Medal Award is like one of the highest achievements of people that are dealing with Scientology. He's developing himself into being an auditor, moved up to, I think, level 2 or 3, which is when he's going to start getting into the highest levels of Scientology. Okay. This Medal of Freedom, I think Tom Cruise got this. So that lets you know how deep he's into it. You seen Tom Cruise, man, jumping on couches with Oprah, and he's a stone cold Scientologist. Here it says he was a guest of honor at the opening of the first Church of Scientology in Ireland in 2017. After more than a decade as a Scientologist, Muhammad went clear in 2020, attaining a high status within the organization. Reverend Alfredi Johnson, with whom Muhammad holds joint events, is also a Scientologist. So the good Reverend Alfredi Johnson, I'm not sure what church he represents, but I'm sure that he's a high-ranking member in some particular church that lets you know that certain churches are compromised within this doctrine as well, are dealing in Scientology. That's why I said Scientology, they say you can be a Muslim, you can be a Christian, doesn't matter, come on in. But eventually they're going to have to sacrifice all matters or manners of their religion. Okay, that's what that boils down to. Let me, while we're on here, let me give you a little fun fact regarding Xenu, which is their equivalent of what they would consider the. Let me show you, man. He's the overlord, an alien. Look at this. The Church of Scientology accepts that intelligent life exists throughout the universe and has for millions of years. So again, we're talking Star Trek type stuff. Intelligent life is living throughout the universe millions of years. Now watch this. Xenu, a galactic overlord, features prominently in their mythology. Xenu's actions have direct influence on how humanity on Earth has developed. However, this information is available only to Scientologists of considerable rank, in line with their acceptance of revealing the truth as followers are properly prepared. The mythology of Xenu. 75 million years ago, Xenu headed the Galactic Federation. Star Trek, Star Wars. You understand what I'm saying? Remember, the founder is a science fiction writer or a former science fiction writer. So this is what he's coming up with. Xenu headed the Galactic Federation, which was an organization of 76 planets that had already existed 20 million years. For 20 million years, the planets were suffering a tremendous problem with overpopulation. Xenu's draconian solution to the matter was to gather large numbers of people, kill them, freeze their thetans. Thetans is the soul, and transport the frozen thetans to Earth, which they called Tegiac. The thetans were left in the vicinity of volcanoes, which were in turn destroyed in a series of nuclear explosions. Members of the Galactic Federation eventually rebelled against Xenu, fighting for him for 6 years before he was finally captured and imprisoned on a planet that today is a barren desert. Within the mountain trap on this unnamed world, Xenu still lives. Okay. Do I need to continue? Okay, just a little bit more. The thetans were captured and exploded on Earth are the origin of body thetans. So in other words, these thetans that they had that were going to war, they imprisoned and all of that, they exploded on Earth and they became body thetans. So the thetans is the soul now encapsulates within a body. This is how man originated, all from a galactic war that was going on 75 million years ago. Overpopulation, an overlord ruler named Xenu got defeated and banned and set in a mountain trap. All of the souls that he, banished and destroyed, all of a sudden, exploded in Earth and became beings. Unbelievable. Each human has his or her own thetan, which Scientologists purify through auditing until the practitioner reaches a state of clear. While a clear's own thetan is now free of destructive engrams, his physical form is still inhabited by body thetans, cluster of these ancient executed thetans. I mean, the list goes on and on with this foolishness, man. Okay. But this is the essences of their creation story. This is how you came to be. This is how I came to be. Our inner thetans, our souls are trying to be made clear again. The only way that we can make clear is that we got to go through the system of Dianetics and auditing so that we can become the true spiritual beings that we're supposed to be. In short, okay. And here's this guy. He's leading the charge, doing commercials and a whole nine for him. I don't remember.
All betterment groups, no matter who they are, there is a surah in the Holy Quran called the Allies.
You see how they always trying to mix the two? This is how we see the doctrines of the beast, man, and the false prophet and all that. This is where the stuff comes from, man. Universal doctrines that involve all religions, man, and then tell you, you can bring everything that you got. However, stand on these particular principles that we got. It's all based upon spirituality. Little do you know, they're rooted in Satanism, in the occult, in Thelema, and all this other stuff. All headed up and created by the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of. And then you end up sounding like Farrakhan saying, I don't care if he's a racist. He helped me. I love him. Thank God for him. Unreal.
And in that particular surah, it talks about those who believe and want to help man should stand shoulder to shoulder in ranks. See? And
so now we're standing together with the so-called white man in ranks. Right, now we're best friends. Come on, Tony. Unbelievable. Look at this. 1 Timothy 6, verse 20. It says, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings. You heard Farrakhan? Vain babblings. He was going crazy. Now Tony Muhammad is trying to quote a surah out of the Quran, and then at the same time trying to mesh it in with the ideologies of Scientology vain babblings, and oppositions of science, falsely so called. Science meaning knowledge. Oppositions of science, falsely so called. Remember, Scientology is what? The study of knowledge. This is what we're talking about. Oppositions of knowledge, falsely so called. Avoid those things is what we was instructed to do. You follow? In 2 Corinthians 2, we see here what can happen. Lest Satan, 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So we can't be ignorant of the devices that Satan develops, that he puts out before us. We got to have knowledge of what's going on. I mean, this is unbelievable. I'm glad some of y'all even asked about me going into this, because there's a lot of people, man, who's really swept away, whether they, fully understand, whether they put it like this, whether they are card carrying members or not. The doctrine is already spread throughout the earth. Okay, dealing with the universe, dealing with humanism, all of that's already in the mentality of many people, and it's rooted. And this is the foundational religion where you can go, manifest yourself. You can stand on the outside looking in saying, yeah, I don't believe in the Bible, but I believe that there's a higher power, and I believe we're spiritual beings, and I think we're here for a reason. And oh, well, guess what? All that falls into the mold of Scientology. Here, come on, let me audit you. Here, sit down. Let's try this e-meter. Let me ask you some personal questions. Let me dig deep. Let me help you get over your traumas. 2 Ezra 8, and let's read 27. It says, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen. See them e-meters and all the other stuff? Those wicked inventions of the heathen. The Most High said, don't regard those things, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions. You can't run from the trauma. You can't run from. We address those things via the scriptures. No other way. Okay. Let me play a little bit more of Mr. Tony.
All betterment groups, no matter who they are, there is a surah in the Holy Quran called the Allies. And in that particular surah, it talks about those who believe and want to help man should stand shoulder to shoulder in ranks. See? And what we should do is drop all of the division, all of the false ideas and false ideology that we've all fallen victim to, and remove the scale from over our eyes and be able to judge a tree by the fruit it bear and judge a man or an organization by its works.
You see how he quoting the Quran, quoting the scriptures, and then trying to mold it all into Scientology. This is how they create a one world religion, one world doctrine, one world understanding. Remember, all the way back to the times of the Greeks, the first Maccabees, the first chapter, around the 41st verse. The scriptures it tells you that the word went out, the decree went out that all should be one people. Every man should leave off his religion. You know what? I'm quoting it. We might as well just go there real quick. So nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. Then you get guys like Minister Tony and Farrakhan and all of them coming out endorsing it, and then it makes our people feel as though that this is something that's sanctified, because why? Pillars in our community are endorsing it. Pillars in our community said it helped them. Also, if these are great men in our community, man, maybe I should go ahead on and do it too. I got respect for them. I know what they've been doing in the community. I've seen their struggles. I've seen how bold they stood in the faces of our enemies, man, when we needed somebody to stand up for us. Yeah. And now they're saying that the so-called white man's really got all the answers. Let's go back over there with him. See, these are the mouthpieces, man, they got our people jacked up. First Maccabees 141 says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, and that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, Many also the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. You understand that that was the whole purpose, was everybody become one people by doing what? Leaving off of your traditions, your laws, your ways. All the heathens said, we're with it. No problem. And then guess what? The Israelites started following suit. Beginning of Hellenism and the destruction of our ways began there. All right. Go ahead, Minister Tony. Let me give you a couple more seconds, man. Let me get you up off
Particular
here.
surah in ranks. See? And what we should do is drop all of the division, all of the false ideas and false ideology that we've all fallen victim to, and remove the scale from over our eyes and be able to judge a tree by the fruit it bear and judge a man or an organization by its works. The works of the Church of Scientology should be held in high esteem of us all. So groups like the Nation of Islam, the Catholic Church, the Muslims all over the world, if we see the good of one another, we should take that good, learn from it, get in exchange, you see, do what other nations do, trade to the point to where we're in exchange. And so I'm just thankful that in this hour that I found a betterment group, that we were told in the Nation of Islam that at a time in our development, we would meet other purified people who would show us things that we can be in exchange with and take tools back to our community.
Did you hear this foolishness? Essentially, he said this is where all religions can meet under Scientology. He said that they were told that they were going to meet other purified people. We just got through reading L. Ron Hubbard's background. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Jack Parsons, orgies, committed adultery, watching this cat man, masturbating, all kinds. He was the scribe for everything that was going on, dealing with Thelema and Aleister Crowley and the occult. He said that these were purified people. Man, what? Hebrews 12:16 says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. There's no purification with the so-called white man. Wouldn't you knock it off, man? These guys are agents, man, bringing our people into this fold of wickedness, and this doctrine of Scientology, man, is going to destroy our people. And he's trying to make it sound like this is some great utopia where all nations and all religions can come together and we're going to find good within each other, and it's founded by purified people. What? Dangerous. Let me move on. I'm not going to play no more of this. Hold on, this thing is be stuck on Tony, man. Come on, Tony, get up out of here. I don't know why this thing is tripping. Let's go here. Hold on. This thing is wilding out. See, Tony told me you're going to sit up here and make me. No, Tony. I ain't watching you no more, man. All right, let me do it this way. Dang, thing's tripping. All right, so let's look at this, man. Shout out to my elder Rasha. It's from evidenceunseen.com, dealing with world religions. This deals with the e-meters. All right. These are these little machines, man, that they sit out there and they damn near like, bootleg lie detector tests. An essential part of Scientology was the so-called electropsychometer, or e-meter. This device was essentially a lie detector operating on many of the same principles. Scientologists, counselors, now called auditors, use the e-meter to discern the problems or engrams in the counselee. While Hubbard claimed that the e-meter was a new invention, this is far from the truth. This device was used as far back as the time of Carl Jung in the 19th century. Rhodes explains the use of the e-meter in this way. As the pre-clear or the counselee holds in his hands the electrodes of this religious instrument, metal cylinders attached to wires. You see what she's holding on to? They're holding on to the metal cylinders. The wires go into the e-meter. It says a current of about 1.5 volts flows through the wires to the person's body and back into the e-meter. Scientologists claim that the different needle movements have precise meanings and that it takes the skill of a trained auditor to understand all of the meter's needle movement. So only the auditor can tell you what's really going on. They're going to look at they're going to look at the readings. Let me take this off. I'm done with the video. They're going to look at they're going to look at the readings. They're going to tell you what's good, what's bad, what's positive, what's not. If you're lying, if you're telling the truth, only they know. Right? Here they go. If you see them, run or cut the hell out of them. That's what they do. They sit up and they post up. See this free stress test. That's what they tell everybody. Oh, you want a stress test? Come on, sit down here. And then they sit back and ask you a series of questions. See him trying to pierce all in the damn woman's face? Asking a test. This is what they're up to. They think they're really a Navy. This is the new leader right here, David Miscavige. Here's the head right here. This guy. Here they are on their little uniforms. This is their garments, their guards. But remember, the founder was an ex-military from the Navy, L. Ron Hubbard. See, he's always believed that he's, in the captain of the ship. He's in some old, he's leading some army or something, man. He's in his own little scientific, his science fiction novel. Look at this. So after Dianetics died down, Hubbard created Scientology as an upgraded version of Dianetics, but in a religious form. He made millions and was embezzling money, claiming they were a church and a nonprofit. In the late 60s, U.S. IRS court denied the nonprofit status, and Hubbard fled the country in fear of being arrested. Uh-oh. Hey, but check this out. Farrakhan says he doesn't care. Racist, doesn't matter his background, doesn't matter. He thanks God for him. This guy was on the run, allegedly for embezzling millions of dollars, falsely claiming to be a church and a nonprofit, tax evasion, all this other stuff, right? But watch this. He started off traveling on ships with his, quote, Sea Org, going on crazy missions. The Sea Organization are and were equivalent to his clergy and top students. So here's the Sea Org. This is his little battalion. And since he, passed away, this guy, David Miscavige, is the one who took over. After Scientology began to explode worldwide, Hubbard bought a small fleet of ships and spent most of a decade on the open waters where he couldn't be touched by any governmental jurisdiction. Hubbard called himself the, quote, Commodore of this fleet. His ship, called the Flag, was a 3-story, 3,278-ton behemoth that in a former life had served as an Irish cattle ferry and then as a troop transport during World War II. Ultimate knowledge. While on his sea voyages, Hubbard, quote, discovered a new revelation for the Church of Scientology, his creation story. However, this secret information could not be given to just anyone before an initiate could learn of this information. Remember the creation story that we just talked about? Xenu, the Galactic Confederacy, the Overlord, all that other stuff, right? You had to be of a Thetan level 3 to get this knowledge. So here he is on this boat, man, doing God knows what, coming up with this quote unquote revelation now of secret information that's revealed to him regarding creation. We just read what the creation story was. It's what he came up with while he was sitting out there on the boat getting seasick. All right. They were put through a security check to verify that they were ready to receive this knowledge. They then signed a waiver promising never to reveal the secrets of OT3, nor to hold the Church of Scientology responsible for any trauma or damage they might endure during the stage of auditing. Finally, they were given a manila folder, which they placed in a locked briefcase. They were instructed to read it in private, guarded room. So once you go through all of this purging and go through all this auditing, you finally make it up to the highest ranks of OT3. Then they give you a manila envelope and a briefcase and tell you got to go read it in private, like you just got a Mission Impossible mission, letter. This guy was wild, man. Continuing on, it says inside was a single-page document written in Hubbard's longhand script, which later was seen to some to be Hubbard's Book of Genesis. The secret information has been summarized by Reitman in this way. The head of a galactic confederation, 76 planets around larger stars visible from here, founded 95 million years ago. Very space opera. It saw overpopulation, 250 billion or so per planet, 178 billion average by mass implanting. This is another source that I had that was talking about the creation story with the Galactic Confederacy and Xenu and all that other stuff. So it says this leader, a tyrant named Xenu, set out to capture the trillions who opposed him and deposited them in volcanoes on the prison planet of Tajiak, otherwise known as Earth. He then eradicated them and all life on the planet with hydrogen bombs, leaving only the thetans or souls of the captives, which were then brainwashed or implanted to rid them of their original identities. Imagine that. Remember, he was saying, I've come to the realization man is brainwashed. The man is lost. He's asleep, right? And lost their identities. Oh, where did he steal that from? Marinate on that. But continuing on. Remember, he came to steal, kill, and destroy. He's a damn liar. Stealing the legacy of our book, our story, and then flipped it into some science fiction BS. Millions of years later, when life began again on the TGAC, the traumatized thetans attached themselves to human bodies. Where did these human bodies come from? How did these souls manifest or merge within these bodies? Anyway, according to the special revelation from Hubbard, humans are really thetans, or pronounced thetans, or immortal spirits. This term comes from the Greek letter theta, or theta. Here you see the Greek symbol theta. All right. Jeremiah 10:2 tells us, man, not to, follow the ways of the heathen. We understand regarding the idol worship and all that other stuff, right? This is where they get it from. Look at this. Operation Snow White. The Church of Scientology developed an intelligence branch of their organization called the Guardians. Urban writes, by the late 1970s, the Guardians office had managed to infiltrate and place Scientologists into a remarkable array of government and private offices, mounting covert operations that impressed even senior U.S. intelligence officers. So here they went and had their own little mission. They started utilizing people of Scientology, infiltrating into all of these government offices, private offices, businesses, corporations, so forth and so on. The Rosicrucians operate in the same fashion. Rosicrucians infiltrate all religions. They, got agents and subplanted within Israelite movements, Israelite camps, congregations, churches, for sure they did back in the day. And supposedly, they've infiltrated many schools of thought. The Church of Scientology are operating in the same fashion. Okay, but watch what they did. This included the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, the Better Business Bureau, the American Medical Association, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Drug Enforcement Administration. So they're saying that they've managed to put Scientologists in the IRS, Better Business Bureau, the Medical Association, the Federal Trade Commission, and the DEA. A lot of alphabets going on. Continuing on Operation Snow White, more than 5,000 Scientologists were involved in one of the most clandestine covert spying operations ever aimed at the United States government. Court evidence numbering approximately 33,000 documents connected Scientologists to infiltrating the government, burglarizing, bugging, wiretapping, and stealing classified information. But Tony Muhammad has no problem with this. Farrakhan has no problem with this. Will Smith and Jada, they had no problems with this. Operation Snow White's public record, look it up. More than 5,000 of these demons, man, was, I mean, and what's the Edomite Leah Remy? She got their whole documentary about, I'm pretty sure it's still on Netflix, about all of the corruption and the foul stuff going on within the church, man. There's a couple of different documentaries that's going on, exposing them. But let's continue. So more than 5,000 Scientologists were involved in one of the most clandestine covert spying operations ever aimed at the United States government. Court evidence numbering approximately 33,000 documents connected Scientologists to infiltrating the government, burglarizing, bugging, wiretapping, and stealing classified information. Excuse me. All 11 charged Scientologists originally pleaded innocent to the 28-count grand jury indictment. After much plea bargaining and examining mounting evidence against them, they pleaded guilty to one charge instead of a trial and a heavier sentence. L. Ron Hubbard and 24 other Scientologists were named co-conspirators but not indicted. Here's a successor. I mean, he looks like a damn demon in a suit, man. Look at the smile. Look at the eyes. Here you got some of the celebrities, man. Good old Isaac Hayes. He's Mossad, took his spirit from him. He's out of here. Tom Cruise, man. Travolta, Will Smith, Michael Pena, Ricky Martin. These guys are all of them. We'll say for the sake of, legalities or whatever, man, are alleged to have either currently been, formerly been, or have experienced some time within the Church of Scientology. Let's how about that? Okay. So in 1993, they finally achieved their nonprofit status. They faced $1 billion tax bill in the 80s. The Scavers ordered 2,400 members to sue the IRS and its agents. On 10/1/93, they became a nonprofit. So they've been going back and forth, battling the government. They've had indictments going on them. They've had a conviction with spying, stealing classified documents, all kind of stuff, falsely claiming that they were a nonprofit. They didn't get to be a nonprofit until 1993. This is the legacy that the Church of Scientology holds. So, hopefully everybody gets some clear understanding on the falsehoods and the dangers that go within that. I mean, people don't look at it as a big deal. Like, oh, Church of Scientology, they're not really. No. After today or after this evening, whenever you're watching this, you'll see how the spirit and the philosophy has infiltrated into many frames of thought, into many people, into religions, and now without having the title of being a quote-unquote Scientologist, people are still practicing their ways and don't even know it. And we know where it all roots from. Satan. Okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close up, get on out of here, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, IQAhmath, man. Hopefully everybody got some understanding. Make sure that you wiped your feet when you came in. If you did not, wipe them on your way out. Till the next time, shalom.